excited and waiting for their projects.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it like another minute to see if everyone Hope everyone's doing great this evening, by the way. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves over here on the chat, you're more than welcome to. My name is Bridget Schrader. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Bridget Schrader. I'm the head of partnerships and career support here at Fort Dukes Academy. And tonight we're going to be having our graduates present their final project, basically all of the talent that they've worked for here at the Academy, all of the skills that they've learned. Yeah, like I was saying, if you guys want to also go ahead and introduce yourselves, put your title, who you are, etc. over on the chat, you're more than welcome to. But we'll go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to give you guys a little bit of background about the Academy itself. So give me 1 second here. All right, so thanks everyone. Like I said, I'm Bridget from Fort Dukes. What we are, we're a full stack coding academy. We offer part-time and full-time curriculums here at the academy. Tonight, like I said, we're having our students show up everything that they've learned, including the coding skills that range between Python, MySQL, JavaScript, and so forth. Just to give you guys a little bit of background about who we are as Academy and why it's so, we think it's so important for people to join coding schools is that we have a 90% of total workforce is needed in that's needed in the work field is digital skills, and coding has actually become very popular and is a must with a lot of companies that are switching over to remote work and developing new programs. The average salary for people that actually switch over to coding is about $55K a year, with that growing exponentially over time. You can see actually like senior positions somewhere between 100K a year. 25K open positions across Florida for software and web developers, but that's actually also growing as well due to the rise in work from home positions from coronavirus and so forth. There's actually over 500K open positions. I feel like that's actually growing a lot more now too. I think it's over 700,000 to 800,000 now here in the US due to the rise of work from home and so forth. And 8 out of 25 of the most skills are actually coding as well. I also wanted to tell you guys a little bit about Rigoberto, who's actually our mascot, and you can see him here on my shirt. The first program that we launched here in Miami was in 2016 at the Miami-Dade College. We have 6 campuses located worldwide, including one in Madrid that we recently opened. And we also have campuses all across, in South America, including Venezuela and Chile. We also have 10 ongoing coding programs as of now, and we're licensed by the Florida Department of Education. Some facts behind the Academy as well. A lot of people see a huge increase in their wages after they attend the Academy, like I had mentioned previously, over 20%. We have seen over 600 plus graduates graduate from the Academy. We have a 91% placement ratio. And like I mentioned before, we offer a lot of, the reason why we also get a lot of students to join is because of the financial options that we have available as well. So that's just a little something to let you guys know about in terms of the Academy. Some of the partners that we have here, as you can see, are Career Score, Ultimate Software, Synergy. We do a lot of things with the Bitcoin Center as well. We're always working to do events, webinars, anything involving the Academy and the tech industry is something that we're heavily involved in. And we also try to always offer up different types of classes that students could take outside of coding that are involved in the tech industry through some of these partnerships as well. So it's really great way for everyone to kind of get to know the tech industry and also go to the Academy. So I think I actually can hear Marcelo. I'm not 100% sure if he's trying to speak right now, but I'm going to let him say a couple of words. Just give me 1 second to see if he's going to be, I don't know if you can actually hear me right now.
I'm here.
Awesome. Okay, great. Sorry. Okay, great. I'm actually going to go ahead and let Marcelo speak in a second before introducing tonight's guest speakers. So go ahead, Marcelo, I'll let you go ahead.
I'm always here. It's like a big secret trick I have. You know, I'm taking notes like the old-fashioned way. Okay, give me a second.
You're fine. Like I said, if you guys want to go.
Can you all hear me fine? Yes.
I can.
I'm not for long. I just wanted to say a couple of things. This is one of the most weird, strange, weirdest challenges time we had as a society for odd reasons, right? That doesn't mean that it's a bad time. You know? Maybe of course, and of course, it's been impacting and affecting everyone's life. I mean, don't think that some people are not being affected or impacted by this situation, right? So everybody's doing and having an issue at least with that, and everyone and everything as well. As a school, as for Geeks has been dealing with different challenges and ways to overcome what has been a tremendous, I don't know how to say it, a tremendous obstacle. We have had for Geeks since the beginning was based upon the idea that in-person education was the main way to go. We have something against it, but in terms of technology, in terms of learning to code, we thought that the best way to achieve that, and the best way to achieve that is actually doing in-person sessions. And we have been learning a lot since we switched to online. It wasn't our decision. It was the only decision that we had. And I think it's showing us that we were wrong. And I love that we were wrong, because I didn't believe that we were capable of delivering the same amount of service, the same quality of service, the same quality of mentorship than before. And everything has been turning out probably in a better way. We have several students taking classes right now, and every single one of them process of the process of becoming a
Really quick, sorry to interrupt. I think you're having connection issues. Yeah, I think you're having connection issues. Hear you that well. The best thing to do is you turn off the video.
Guys are saying today.
Leave the audio. Can everyone hear him or not?
It's cutting out quite a lot. Not anymore.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's still out of the country. So he kind of has, sometimes he has connectivity issues. But what I was trying to say, so Marcel is actually the founder of 4 Geeks, by the way. Oh, there he is.
I'm here.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you have to deal with. So I'm here again, sorry for that. So I was saying that the guys that we have tonight, presenting the project, people that are invited as a guest speaker, are here to show that are here to show that everything is possible in terms of learning.
Okay.
So I was saying, we have tonight Nelson in Francisco. I was trying to say, who are the perfect example of people that are persistent, capable, and normally we're super proud of the people that graduate from 4 Geeks, but these two guys are better than expected. The way that you have to be showing commitment and passion and how serious you are about the program and about your career and about the future, it's impressive. And I want to congratulate each of you, and I want to say that I'm sure that you're going to find a better career and great opportunities after this. And we're here for you, and we're here all the way till the end, as usual. But for you, it's going to be even easier, I guess, because you are well prepared and you have been working so hard. And this was a cohort really challenging, really hard to deal with, because a lot of the people were tremendously impacted by COVID in terms of economic layoffs, family issues, everything. So a lot of them decided to switch to a new cohort. Actually, pretty much everyone that left that program decided to join a different program. They were as committed and as passionate, but they didn't have the possibility to continue, and that's also understandable. But that also showed that Nelson is super great. So I'm super proud of you again. To the guest speakers and everybody here, well, welcome to Forgeeks again. Thanks for joining, and all of that. Best of luck in my, well, I don't know. I'm super happy tonight. So, congrats again, and welcome to Forgeeks. Let's move forward.
Thank you. Bridget, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry, when you're on the screen share, you can't, it doesn't pop up. I apologize. Anyways, I want to thank everyone again for joining us, especially tonight's guest speakers. We have a really great group of people. We have Alessandra Szul, who's a product manager with REEF Technology. We have Emmanuel, Miot, who's actually the founder of SocialAIM.co. And we have Trenton, who's actually a former student of the Academy, who's now a developer and is working as a QA analyst for RBI. So I actually have a special Q&A planned for this evening. I'm going to be asking some questions to our special guests here. And we can save some time later on if you guys would like to ask some questions. You're more than also welcome to ask some during the chat and in the chat to them as well. I'll try to reach as many as possible during your time. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and start. So give me 1 second, all right? I'm actually going to pull up questions here in a second. Also, I apologize, my computer's a little slow. Okay, great. So thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Alessandra, thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you, Trent. The first questions I'm gonna ask are actually gonna go kind of between Emmanuel and Alessandra a little bit. But Alessandra, I actually wanted to ask you this one first, especially since you work at REEF. But can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the tech industry as well as what you do at REEF as a company?
Yeah, absolutely. And also I just wanted to say thank you so much for inviting me to this graduation cohort presentation. I didn't have much of the opportunity to have role models or to even see what other jobs are out there when I was getting into tech. So I always enjoy opportunities to like evangelize and share all the different jobs that are out there that I think when I was in school, they didn't really teach me about. So I got into technology because when I was 6 years old, I was left unattended on the computer for very long periods of time and got really, really into online gaming, specifically like web games and virtual pets and simulation games. And I am very girly. And at the time, there were not very many like kind of girly games, and I always like to customize things. I always like to make them pink or whatever it may be. And so it eventually got to the point where like I wanted to customize my games, and I was self-taught off of tutorials. I think at the time in 2001, it was HTML4. We're in HTML 5.2 at the moment. And it kind of like grew from there. I remember like putting together my first websites and editing in Photoshop and like customizing my Sims games. And then it started to develop into like customizing mods and like learning how I wanted to make more money or like all these different things that I had to learn technical skills in order to do. And then there was a period of time where I got older and I was like too cool for anything anything computer related. And then when I got older and I kind of realized, okay, like I have to do something in the real world and I needed to do something that made money, it kind of made sense to go back into technology because it was something that came natural to me. I had to take out loans for school, and so I figured the best return on the investment would be something that was I'd have not only the best chances at making money in, but also where the future was going. So, and it's also a lot easier to do something that kind of comes naturally to you that you enjoy. I kind of compare it to like professional athletes. Like it's their job, but it's their career and it's fun. And so it's not kind of like a 9 to 5 to them. So I ended up going to the University of Miami for applied computer science. And I graduated from the School of Business because I wanted to make, like, I haven't been very good at math. So I knew I couldn't go the true computer engineering route. I just made it past Calc 1. I don't think I was really going to have much success in linear algebra or anything of that nature. So I went in there, and then I always had to work while I was in school. And it's funny, I actually know Emmanuel because
recording has started.
Okay. We had worked together at a nightclub on Miami Beach, so I would work at night, and then during the day I would go to school. We worked at the basement together, and so I probably didn't have the best GPA. I did okay, but at UM, I mean, my coworkers were like politicians' children, or, you know, there's obviously a lot of like scholarship kids there also, but I kind of maybe had a little bit of imposter syndrome where like I felt like I didn't have a chance. Like, how is someone going to get a job when I couldn't even have time to have internships? Like, I only had to work, and then I never really felt like my work experience applied into the tech world. So like I honestly was like prepared to graduate school and kind of continue working in bars and clubs as a waitress or as a bartender or something like that. And then I also, because I couldn't invest so much time into my education as I probably would have liked to, which I could have, I never felt like I was the best engineer either. So like I was struggling in my coding classes and like kind of had to like hire tutors to help me because I wanted to make sure I passed. Because I was spending all this money to go to school, like I wanted to at least make sure I was passing. And so I'm like, okay, well, I think I can be an engineer, but what I did have was always excellent like communication and people skills, and also really great design thinking. And so I was like, well, I have this like computer science degree, and so I started to apply into jobs in tech sales. But I understood technology. I understood how to design technology, not necessarily build it myself well or efficiently. And then I applied on AngelList for a company called Kairos, which was a facial recognition company that specialized in the development of algorithms that were, the aim was that the algorithm would be trained on the most diverse data set possible, because there's an inherent bias in facial recognition algorithms toward lighter skinned people just because of training data. So I started working there, and then it was a small startup, and I, for the first time, met someone who was in product. And I remember in school they never taught me about product or what product was or product managers would do, and then it kind of felt like I was aligned, like that was something that made sense to me. So what I do at REEF, and I stopped working there now. It's funny, today's my 1-year anniversary at REEF Technology. I'm over there as a product manager. Thank you, Emmanuel. And I started at Kairos originally doing like account director, account management, but given that we were selling developer tools, it's like a car part. It's not useful on its own. It's only useful when it's part of something else. So someone comes to you with an idea, and you have to kind of walk them through how it's integrated. And so in that process, I would be doing product management. I would be doing product design. I would say, hey, there's 20 different ways you can cut this. Let's figure out what makes the most sense and do technical feasibility, financial feasibility, design MVPs. And I eventually got promoted to director of product integration. Then that kind of faded out because the company ran out of money, and my landlord does not accept stocks. I need money. And I ended up going over to REEF. REEF is a SoftBank company And what we do is transform parking lots. We manage the contracts. We bought all the parking companies in America. And we put alternate use cases on these parking lots, like electrical vehicle charging stations, ghost kitchens, things like that. And product management is essentially, the business will come to you with a goal or an opportunity, and it's then your job to figure out, okay, what are we going to make that's not only going to address the business task at hand, but then also how are we going to build it? So working with engineering and saying, okay, this is what needs to be done. How are we going to do it? But then the most important part that a lot of people maybe leave to last that really should be first is the users. How is this going to function in the market? You can have the business say, okay, we want to build a teleporter. And we're like, okay, great. People need to get from point A to point B really, really fast. And it doesn't take any fuel emissions and all these things. Sounds great. And then the engineers are like, okay, whatever, we can build it. And then it's like, it's going to cost us $20 billion to build. All right. And then it's kind of product job to say, okay, well, anybody actually afford this? Like, let's validate that there's an opportunity for this. Let's do some research. Like, let's make sure we're actually building the right thing. Because, hey, maybe if the point of the need in the market is for people to get to point A to point B for free, or, in a way that doesn't affect the environment, how about a bicycle? And the part of product is about why. It's like a doctor. You don't go to a doctor saying, hey, I need a Percocet for a headache. The doctor's going to say, oh, you have a headache. Let's do a little bit deeper of investigation. Let's understand what your headache is, and then maybe we can give you something else or something of that nature. So it's a very long-winded way of saying how I got here and what I do right now at REEF.
Thank you. No, that was a great answer. I love the whole storytelling. That's perfect. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and ask Emmanuel a little different question, because you're founder of SocialAIM. I wanted you to tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and how SocialAIM is involved in the tech industry.
Awesome. Thank you again for putting this together. And I think you all are doing such a great job helping people discover what they can do and all the new skills, especially that you can add to your arsenal, right? So it's great. And it's my journey started a long time ago. Again, my name is Emmanuel, Miot, and I'm the founder and executive director of SocialAIM.co. I've been a long time entrepreneur, and I call myself a non-technical founder. Simply because I've been in business for a very long time. Started my first business in high school, and also got my first management role before I was 19. And really stepping into the world and seeing what it's like to run the business, and seeing what it's like to create opportunities and solve problems. And I got into tech and technology, just kind of seeing how amazing it is. And I think right now it's the greatest time that no matter what your position is in terms of any challenges that you would like to solve, that you care about, technology makes it so easy for you to have an opportunity to solve specific problems. And that's what led me to SocialAIM.co. So I've successfully launched over 3 companies, and SocialAIM being my 4th and proudest venture. So what we're doing is it's not just creating and building a community, but because we believe that everyone can contribute to helping to create a sustainable future in better communities, right? And being an active participant in building better communities, specifically the communities that you live in. So we really believe that social entrepreneurs are key agents in helping us build better communities and a sustainable future. So we built a platform to support them, to actively be there for them, and that's what the company is all about. Right now, we're at our very early stages. So my day-to-day is putting out fires and building and creating new opportunities. We've been hosting weekly discussions, and also providing a lot of value in terms of step-by-step guides to help local social entrepreneurs build their business, as well as using local community engagement and human capital to as a tool to grow their businesses. So that's what I do on a daily basis, and that's what SocialAIM.co is all about. Again, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about your projects.
Awesome, thank you, Emmanuel. I'll actually ask Trent the same question. So Trent is a former student, like I had mentioned before. He's actually working at RBI now, but I kind of want you to tell everyone a little bit as to why you decided to get into coding and the tech industry.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me to this, guys. It's good to see Paolo again, and Marcelo, and I'm sure Alejandro's hiding somewhere in the background. But yeah, honestly, it was just a natural fit for me. I'm kind of like Alessandra in the sense that I've been, a gamer since birth. So I've practically been in front of a computer screen my entire life. So when I was bored as hell at Florida State studying human resources, I was like, yeah, it definitely isn't for me. So as soon as I graduated, I was exploring many different options, and that's what led me to 4Geeks. And it was, a long road of trying things out here and there before then, but it seemed like just a natural fit for me. So I gave it a shot, and here I am.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm actually going to go ahead and ask you guys a couple more questions here. This is everyone's kind of question too. Since you guys are joining from different kinds of backgrounds in the tech industry, what kind of tips could you give for people who want to join, regardless if they have a coding background or not, like if they have something involved in the tech industry? What are some of the tips you can give people that want to join tech? And I'll actually start this question off with you, Emmanuel, if that's okay.
For sure. Man, I would say, even if you don't have a technical background, I would say just do it. Because not only opportunities are endless, right? In terms of, because we know the present right now is online, and so is the future. So it's limitless in terms of job opportunities for you, but it's also super limitless in terms of opportunities that you can create for yourself, right? If you're thinking about learning this new skill. For example, as a non-technical founder, really, I didn't really know much, right? Because a lot of my experience and background has been really marketing, sales, banking, hospitality, right? Nightlife. I remember back in the days working with Alessandra. But you have the opportunity. I built this website just kind of learning how to work Wix, right? In terms of just building the SocialAIM.co, because I had to do it myself. But think about this, not technical founder, I didn't really know much, but we're still able to hustle and put a business together. So think of the things that you can do if you're able to take your skills to a whole next level. I think the sky won't be the limit for you, right? That's it'll be more of a platform to stand on. So my advice is just do it. You have very little to lose, and these are the tips. Start with an open mind and start with opportunity and creativity in your mind, and I think that's where you'll get to.
Awesome, Daniel. Alessandra, I'll move on to you next.
Yeah. So what I would say is that, contrary to maybe what people might believe, but we all have a technical background. Everyone has a technical background. If you are alive in this century, in this, not century, but if you're alive in this age, you have interacted with technology in one way or another. I mean, you know how to write an email, you know how to, what a button is and URLs are and all of this stuff. Like at this point, even like our children, next generation, there's degrees of being technical, like having the background, like the way that babies and design is that it's intuitive on how to work apps, like technology is a part of everyday life. And so like just having like the technical competency is the beginning of the next step of just becoming more and more technical. Now, if you've never seen a computer before in your life, then I could see why, how someone would be like, oh, well, this seems like a huge obstacle. But, the thing is even if you would like to be in technology one day, and I learned this even from the most technical people that I met, like let's say the chief science officer at Kairos, who was a machine learning engineer, like incredible, had a PhD in machine learning and AI. Or I had a VP of data science that developed algorithmic trading at Fidelity. Like I, in comparison, am very young in my career, but I even had things to teach them because there's such a scope in technology. So I think the first thing would be to not think that you are not technical. You are more technical than you think. And then it also helps, like, you don't have to make a huge commitment to even say, okay, like, to see if something's free, you don't have to make a commitment to go to a 4-year degree. You don't have to even make a commitment to do a boot camp. You can start with, like, a Udacity. They have a Computer Science 101 course. It's free. And, you do a couple courses. You watch a couple YouTube videos. And you just take things one step at a time. And then I think the next step I would say to that is, for example, like I said earlier, it's not like, okay, you have to become an engineer. Having, like, one of my best product managers that I work with at REEF, his undergrad was in criminology. Then he did his Juris Doctorate at Hofstra and always liked in engineering. And then he did like a full stack boot camp. And now he is like one of our top paid product managers, incredible, like brilliant, had the legal logic thinking also helps a lot. It's very similar to engineering in a lot of ways of like parameters you have to operate within. And that there's no like one straight path. So part of that is understanding like all the different jobs out there and departments. So it's not just like IT help support or becoming making websites or doing network support or even product management. Like there is also back-end engineers and quality assurance and QA. That's a whole new world for me that I hadn't even worked with at my previous company that I'm even learning about at REEF. And then also UX. And UX is huge. UX is like a mix of art and research and business validation. So I think just like going in the scope out there, but nothing will, even if you decide like engineering's not for you, just being able to speak about technology is more important. Like once you speak the lingo and you understand, like every year you're gonna learn more.
Awesome. And what about you, Trent?
Can you repeat the question? It's just tips about people wanting to get in technology, right?
Yes. Sorry. I was gonna ask if you wanted to repeat it.
Don't worry, I was listening. Let's see, tips. Yeah, I would just say keep an open mind, be exploratory. It's easy to be scared about new ventures, but I think it's just a matter of giving it your all. I didn't know that coding was going to be for me. I just found 4 weeks and found that it fit for me, and I said, okay, and I signed up. Like I didn't give it a second thought. So I would definitely stress that being determined about whatever it is that you choose, giving it 100%. That is the best way to get really the best experience that you can out of it. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. But you have to keep in mind that this is the new paradigm, especially with the situation that's going on right now. Like tech is just going to explode from this point. So if you're not in the club, you're going to be in it eventually. You might as well get that jump start.
I just wanted to add a little bit onto what Trenton said. Made me think of something like I mentioned all those different departments and areas of technology you can work in. A huge one is tech sales. Tech sales makes the most out of any area. Like tech sales, like the top tech sales people at a company, they make the most money. Like I'm saying, like millions of dollars a year for having like a 9-to-5 job doing sales. And so even just like knowing about technology, and you don't even have to like be an engineer, but that's still like a career, in tech. So people like a more open mind than you think.
Awesome. This is another question, obviously, with everything that's happened and everything that's still ongoing with the whole pandemic and everything. How do you guys feel that the industry will grow, or will it grow a lot more now that people are going to be interested in switching over their careers all to tech? To tech altogether, in the terms that, you know, we're going to be seeing a lot of companies put their budget towards tech development. Do you guys think that that's going to be a huge effect overall to the tech industry? And I'll start with you, Alessandra.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's already going to be there already has been a paradigm shift in the way that things have been going even before the pandemic. And without kind of disclosing too much about the things that I'm working on right now at REEF, like the future is automation, the future is robotics, and not just for the reason that you know, reduction of human capital. Part of the reason is like when you automate is you free up time. You know, people aren't doing so many manual tasks, and so the catch-22 about like the reduction of jobs is also creation of new jobs that kind of maybe might have more of a educational requirement or a background or specialty. But with the coronavirus, it's actually been the largest accelerator of digital innovation, at least in my company that I've seen. But I think, you know, companies are now starting to realize more than ever that it's something that needs to be done. But I think the biggest benefit in how companies are changing is kind of a shift away from the traditional like corporate rules that, like, for example, when you're younger and you know your parents are telling you something that like, you know, every reason is fine, but they're just saying like no because I'm your mom and I said no. So all these things like not working remotely or not being able to do this or you know, having a certain dress code that like very antiquated in so many ways. Now, because it's like, well, in order to continue functioning, you need your employees and they're working from home. So they're forced to make concessions that maybe they were like a little bit afraid to make before. And now seeing, wait, hold on. Like, for example, my company, we've actually become immensely more productive once everyone's working in the environment that makes them comfortable. So I guess to answer your question about how I think corporations are going to progress and change, especially in the pandemic, I think that it was already the realization that, okay, you know, the robots are coming, or that the world is becoming more technical, and also just a lot of colleges are investing even more into STEM programs, that it's only going to continue to go in that direction because if you look at the different industries that have been affected by this pandemic, especially around retail, especially around hospitality, they will either have to adapt or fail. So I think that if they want to continue to be players in the market, that, you know, companies are going to have to put their dollars there.
Awesome. Emmanuel, I have the same question for you, but it's a little bit different. Since you're the founder of your company, what kind of changes or growth have you seen with your company throughout the pandemic and everything?
Great question. There's been a lot of changes. You know, we actually we haven't delivered our core product yet, right? Our whole phase right now, we've just been testing a few things out, and we're actually planning to launch our flagship product. It's going to be something that we do in person, and after COVID, we really had to go back to the drawing board and figure out how exactly are we going to maneuver this, because we don't know how long this will last, and we think there's a new normal, and people will probably won't interact the same anymore. So we went back to the drawing board, and we had to pivot and do a lot of new things, and which actually turned out to be a lot better with what we initially planned versus now having a whole virtual product that we think will be super amazing. So the future is great, and I think, and also to add to the generality of it in terms of really making sense of the opportunity that we have, because we're learning such a valuable skill. Part of what I also do is coordinate a small business program at Miami-Dade College, and I see a lot of the pain points. A lot of companies are coming from the traditional industries and realizing, oh my God, this is killing my industry, and now I have to go online. So not only, so it's not just us that all of a sudden have brand new life, or now we have the ability to create a brand new line of product that could really not only give us the opportunity to create more jobs, but also be a lot more valuable. And I think a lot of other companies are going to be in that same position, which is really good for the tech industry in its future. So. I think
I love that answer. Yeah, I know. I was like, oops. I love that answer. Trent, as with you, yours is also a little bit different in terms as a QA at your job. What changes have you seen in your position? Have there been any major ones because of the pandemic? And do you think that your company that you've been working at is also going to see a growth of some sort?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a dramatic restructuring. I think a lot of people are going to be forced to reconsider whether or not they want to have office spaces that they're paying millions of dollars for every year, when now we are all seemingly working in a more productive environment since we're comfortable at home. So as far as my company, we have constantly been hiring, if not more now than before. And despite only being in the office for about 2 to 3 weeks before COVID, I didn't notice a change in schedule whatsoever. It was the same day to day. So yeah, that's in the context of my company. That's how it's been going. And on a broader scope, with tech being so accessible, it's fostering individual freedom where superficial qualities aren't the focus as much as skill is alone. So I think people are going to be flocking to Khan Academy and Udemy and Udacity, wherever they can get education and skills, and that's all that people are going to be judged for in terms of the tech field.
Sorry to jump in again. My ADD is like all over the place, but also again, like your point of like superficial qualities that like maybe before would have like really made the difference of someone, judging someone's performance or their competence versus, just like hard skills alone. One of the things that I've really enjoyed now because of working from home that I guess maybe other women might be able to relate to this better than others is that there are often times where I would be in the same room as maybe one of my male counterparts that might have this similar education or I might even be a little bit more experienced than them, that the perception based off of how I look or how young I come across as or how young I look, there are a lot of times where like I would be treated differently and not consciously, but that also, people would look at that part of me. But now I'm joining all my meetings. I don't even put my camera on. So my work speaks for itself. It's not even about, okay, yes, someone's showing face every day. Now, like you're looking at my reports and you're looking at my emails and that human component, at least in terms of the visual human component, is gone. So I've actually really enjoyed it because I felt like I've now received a lot more respect for my work because that's all that people really see.
Amazing. I love your guys' answers. They're so like detailed and everything. They're really well thought out. I also want to ask you guys one final question because I have to move on to our students' projects, unfortunately. But if you guys want to go ahead and answer any of the questions that we have in the chat, if you want to wait till the end, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, we can go ahead and answer them as quickly as possible through the chat if that's possible. Before I move on to our projects, I actually wanted to ask you guys the last thing, which is, what is your favorite aspect about working in the tech industry? That's something I always love to ask because it's just such a great answer. It's just such a great question, and some of the answers have always been really like, I don't want to say inspiring because that's corny, but people really do kind of have like really great ambitions and goals. So I'm actually going to start with you, Emmanuel.
Yes, man, there's so many favorites, right? I think one of the best things, like I said earlier, it's like having the opportunity to solve not just problems that you care about or based on personal experiences, but you can solve big problems, and there's no limit to what you can do. That aspect, I think, is a lot of time it may sound cliche, right? Or it could be underestimated in terms of, man, how big of a change or how big of an impact can I make? And I think that working in the tech industry, it just unties your hands because it literally levels the playing field a lot of times. And for you to create something where on day one you could appear as if you are the big kid on the block, and I think that's powerful, and I think it's always worth not undermining. So, and also having the opportunity to meet a lot of great people, and I think that's just as great as in itself, and being in the industry and being around other great minds that are solving complex problems that you may not understand today, but then as you're learning more, because it's such a fast pace, you're able to figure things out on the fly. And I think it's it's one of those industries where the more you learn, the more it's building you. And I think all of those are great aspects, and these are some of my favorites.
What about you, Alessandra?
So my favorite things about working in technology, I'll keep it stored in two areas. The first one is that technology is a fairly new industry, so it's not like something like finance that has 100 years of company culture around it or something, even just in the industry. So being someone who might be like as a millennial, kind of like I have a lot of tattoos underneath this jacket, and I might not fit in a lot of other places, but technology is somewhere where like I feel like really accepted and like empowered to be myself. And that helps you, like when you feel comfortable, that just helps you like do your best work because you feel supported. So that is for one thing I love about technology. And the second thing I love about technology, and I guess particularly product, is that my first degree was in biology because I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and that wasn't not for me, but I always loved science. And so computer science fell into that. And with technology, I get to help people. I get to be creative and think of all these different ways. I also have like an art and design background a little bit. I always like to, like I said, customize my games and make things look cool. So I get to be creative. I get to be helpful to the others and solve problems. But then I also get to be scientific in the ways that if I'm making a product recommendation, you don't just operate off of assumption. You can actually then design hypotheses around testing and make suggestions that are based on data. So it's those like three things. It's the creativity, helping people, and then also, bring it back to be scientific and be yourself.
Awesome. What about you, Trent?
So when I got into 4Geeks, at the time I was looking for something new and exciting. And like Alessandra was talking about, I didn't want to be in a grade that had already been established. I wanted something to be groundbreaking. And I actually went into college thinking I was going to be a nurse. So similar story there, where I love science, but I did not do so well in general chemistry or calculus. So I had to adapt as well. But helping people doesn't have to be, helping them from dying or when they're sick. It can just be helping them make sure they get their chicken sandwiches for their family. And that's where I'm at now. And, being a patron of Popeyes and Burger King since I was younger, it's like I feel like I fit in very well. And I'm still helping people just in a different way. And it is groundbreaking. It is completely new. So there's something new I learn every day, and I will expect to learn more as I mature in the field. So I think that'll stay true for the foreseeable future. If you're in the tech field, you'll probably see things that people have never seen before, and I think that's really exciting and definitely worth devoting a career to.
Awesome. So we'll actually just go ahead and answer this quick question, this last question for you, Alessandra. let me see, from Nisa about the differences between working at a startup versus an established company.
Yeah, for sure. And so I will say this, I would not necessarily put REEF as an established company. I would call a established company something more like an Apple, an Amazon, a Google, where they have proven ways of working, that they're profitable, things of that nature. REEF just happens to be very well funded, but we got our $1 billion investment in December, but an investment, like, we still owe them money. We haven't paid it back yet. So I think that there's like there's a spectrum of maturity of companies. And so the last company I worked at, the first company I worked at, Kairos, we had about $11 million in funding total over about 5 years. And so being at REEF is very different because while I know that I'm always going to get my paycheck and have a lot of growth, what we did with the investment is actually buy a lot of legacy companies. So we bought InPark, I probably don't know, but we bought all the valet companies essentially, InPark, PK1, American Park, Lanier, Citizens. So we acquired companies, like originally it was Park Jockey that got the investment, and then we bought companies that were, InPark is from 1963. So I think it's a unique company because you're aggregating and putting all of these companies together. Like the reason we have 15,000 employees is because we purchased huge companies. But I would say like the biggest difference between, you know, working at a startup is, and I would categorize REEF as a startup, but no matter what, and one thing that I learned is like, even if I have friends who work at Apple and at Facebook, everyone's still like trying to figure it out and trying to like make things work every single day and figure out processes. I think the difference between being at like a company like Kairos before and being at REEF is that REEF, you can kind of be a little bit more innovative and take different bets, and it's a little bit easier to fail because you have the funding, while you're at a startup or you're somewhere smaller where you have to really make sure you're making the right decision, because if you're going too far in the wrong direction, you run out of money, you know, you could be in a really bad place. But there's a huge difference between working at REEF and like working at somewhere like Apple. So for example, at REEF, like I'm a product manager. I have like 5 different product lines, and I always do like new product validation all the time. Versus my friends who are product managers at Apple, they'll be like, you'll have not just one product manager for FaceTime. There'll be like one product manager for a feature in FaceTime. Meanwhile, I have like 5 different products, all these different features. Some products I have, we white label. We don't even have development resources. So I think it also depends on like the type of person you are. If you're someone who likes structure and your work to be very cut out for you and clear KPIs, it's better to kind of go to an established company like an Apple or a Facebook, or even just more of a legacy company as opposed to like a startup, because everyone is, while there's a lot of opportunity for career mobility, like you can move very quickly throughout a startup, everyone's also trying to have a say on how processes should go. So it's pretty rocky. Like everyone was talking about my anniversary at REEF today, and they're like, okay, you did 1 REEF year. That's like 5 years at another company.
Awesome. Sorry, if you guys didn't hear me that well. My voice is like always not doing so great. Anyways, due to allergies right now. Anyways, I want to thank you guys again so much for joining us in terms of the panel and everything. If you guys actually would like to leave your contact information in case that anyone would like to reach out to you guys in terms of like anything involved in the tech industry, I don't know if you guys would like to leave your contact information there. I can also share it to the students later. But I do want to thank you guys again for joining us. I really like all the information you were able to give the students. Emmanuel, Trenton, and Alessandra, you guys are rock stars. I love talking to all of you guys all the time, and I really hope that you guys can continue to get more involved in the tech industry. You know, there's always growth and opportunity. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys again.
Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you. Very exciting to be here, so I'm looking forward to the projects.
Awesome.
Likewise.
Yeah, and like I said, if anyone in the audience has any more questions for them, you're more than welcome to also ask throughout the chat. We're actually going to go ahead and move on to the presentation right now. So like Marcelo said before, we have Nelson and Francisco presenting tonight. Nelson and Francisco are graduating from our part-time cohort this evening. And I'll just go ahead and let them take it away. Go ahead. I'm not sure if Nelson or Francisco is starting. I apologize.
I'll start. Hello,
Okay,
everyone.
awesome.
Can you guys hear me though?
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nelson Parra, and my partner here is Francisco Civeiro. We'll be talking about SWAP, which stands for Smart Warehouse Automation Procedure. Before we get into that, just a little bit about us. I started coding late last year. I just wanted to learn a new skill. I did a front-end web development bootcamp, and I actually fell in love with it, and I wanted to keep learning. So I decided to join 4Geeks to improve my skills and also learn the back end. And I enjoy coding. It's not only fun, but challenging. I like that it keeps changing. Everything is always something new, which keeps me engaged in things. I am excited for what the future can bring. Every day I love to just get home and actually code, which is, I'm a bit addicted to it. And I hope in the near future I can make it a permanent thing in my life and keep going from there, keep learning. And here's my partner, Francisco.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Francisco Szul. Before starting with the explanation of our project, I would like to tell you a little bit about my background and my experience as a warehouse worker. It's the original idea for this project. Well, I studied computer science in Venezuela from 2010 to 2016. And I had short experience as developer because I left my country and came to the United States 2 years ago. I wasn't able to get a job as a developer because that's short experience. I'm just focusing on get a job and work for any company that gives me an opportunity. Honestly, I stopped programming. I would like to stop here because nowadays I realize that it's something that you should never do as a developer. You can stop learning, you can stop coding because you just can't do it. Well, working in a warehouse, I realized many things. For example, there is 3 essential roles involved in the whole operation. One of them is the worker who receives the package in the warehouse, the account manager who verifies this information. The third one is the warehouse manager who is the administrator of the whole process. So when you receive a package as a warehouse worker, you must go first.
I think that you and Nelson are in the same place, and either one of you has to put the speakers on. Because you're hearing the music. Yeah. Not only you, but also the speakers. Go ahead, sorry.
When you receive a package as a warehouse worker, you must get all information of the package that is in the label, right? You have to take it to survey, date it, weight, enter to assistance, bring a warehouse receipt, make a copy for each department, sign each copy with date and time for this package. Bring a new label with a receipt number, stick it on the package, store the package, and repeat the process for every single box. So there are so many tasks that you have to do when you receive a package. And it was the best scenario because there is a lot of warehouse without inventory management system. So based on my experience, that process takes you between 5 to 15 minutes, depending on your experience with the inventory software. With all that process, the problem comes when an error is made on a simple process. Okay, you enter a bad customer ID, you get a bad measurement that way, or you achieve accuracy, or you simply miss the place of storage of that box. Or a very simple
I think this is just a commercial break, everybody. I think you're on mute, Bridget.
Okay, we decide to represent those three essential roles in our application. We will have three different views for each one. Our application start. Let me share my screen. Right. Okay. This is our register login view for our application. In this view, you can create a new user. Well, Nelson is going to show you how the application is working.
Hey everyone, hope you guys are hearing me. So let's walk through the application. This app will mainly be used, like Francisco said, by 3 users. The associate that will be handling the packages would be the lowest level in the system, and you will see one view that we will show you later on. The next user would be the account manager. That would be another role, and that system will show another different view that shows all the packages that I received in the system by the associate. And then the last user is obviously the administrator, and the administrator has to get access to all the features of this app. So we'll be able to see all the views, and that's the one that we're going to be using to show you guys the application. That way we can walk you through all the views and show you exactly how it works. So let's log in, walk you through the app. We will register as a new user, as Francisco just did. We are doing something different. The way that this app is supposed to work, as soon as you register, you're going to log in as the lowest level possible, which would be the associate. But for this demonstration, we change the back end. That way you can we register as an admin, so you get to see what an admin would look like. So we are logging in. As the admin log in, they're going to get greeted by the welcome screen. This screen will display KPIs, which displays metrics, which depending on what the admin or the company wants to look at on a daily basis. For example, the amount of packages received today, or how much revenue we have made in a month or daily, or how much on average shipping is costing us. Of course, the screen can also be configured to show whatever metric or data the company would want. So right now we just have the basics, some graphs to show you the average packages received for the month. So there's no trending going on right now. The next feature we have in the app is an inbox. So obviously, what we want to do is to be able for all the users to communicate. So an admin will more likely receive messages by the other 2 users, and here's where they would go. Here we see some messages already received. The admin can go in, check out the message, and reply if they want. It's something pretty straightforward. Our future idea that we were discussing that we're going to try to implement in this case is instead of having like an email setup, it's going to be more of a a chat that gets recorded as a message. So let's say, for example, James, you will click on it and it will just give you a whole chat about it or whatever issue is happening, and it will log it and keep the records within the system. That's our feature key for this component. Moving on to the next feature is users. Just a list of all the users that are registered in the application. This is the main focus for the administrator. This will show you who is registered in the app. The admin has the power to delete, edit their roles or their passwords or their usernames they really wanted. Let's say someone got promoted. Yay, level goes from 2 to 3. No, 3 to 2. And now someone is no longer an associate but a sales manager. And that would also change what view you're going to see when you log in. The application role works as level 1 being one of the most control of the app, which is the admin in this case, and level 3 will be the lowest currently, which is the associate. Okay, now Francisco will talk about the next feature, which is receiving packages. This is where the magic happens for our application.
I'm trying to get the station. For this view, we built a Raspberry Pi station. Okay. To implement the solution of the automation. So I don't know if you can gonna see the solution, but well, this is an station where you can just put a box and in real time it's gonna take the new box and the new measurements. Okay. This is the most important part because we want to get all the information of a single box without the user errors in the warehouse. So this is part of an application that is going to take all the data from the single box, and you can delete that box and change it. And the process will take long as I don't know, 50 minutes. You can do it just 20 seconds. It's very fast to say the packages. For that solution, you can also match the inventory of warehouse just with this station and this web application solution. So you can also explain what packaging is.
Sure. So now that we saw how we can receive new package in the system, which is the view seen by the associate, that's the only view that they're going to be able to see, and that's controlled by the application in the back. So once they receive the new package, it's going to feed into this display, and this is what the manager will see. This display lists all the packages that were received in the system, and if we click in the packages, then we can see more details, so like the photo and the length, width, height, anything that we want. On the phase 2 of this project, we want to expand in this area. We want to be able to have an average estimation of shipping charges, or at least have an average calculation of what shipping is going to cost, depending on the packages, weights, and all the specs, pretty much. We will also be thinking of building a finance feature besides the dashboard, and of course the manual edit process in case we need to change the number or one of the sensors malfunction, that can happen. So the following tab is the logistics page. This is where we obtain the shipping cost of the packages. We are using a third-party user API to obtain this because private companies we have to pay, so we decided to just go cheap on this. So we're using a third-party API to get the estimation of pricing. This is having the information of the packages on our list, and then calculating how much it's going to cost to ship it, depending on how many we want priority mail, we want to express, or the media mail, or just normal shipping. Obviously, the prices change depending on if it's selected in your city, if it's even available, but this gives you all the options available. So you can plan finances around that. And finally, we have our warehouse tab. So this is a list of all the companies that we will technically be shipping to. We want to do eventually is not only have it as a list, but have the information of shipping costs be calculated for the facility, but also be able to click inside and tell you what packages you might have for that specific customer. And that is pretty much the meat and bones of our app. Now that we've shown you how the app would work and ideas for future build, just want to talk about what we use to build this app. For the front end, we use React, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. And for the backend, we use Python, Flask, the Raspberry Pi, which made all the magic happen, and MySQL plans. Not every project has its nuances, so let's talk about them. For me, since I focus a bit more on the front end in this project, the hardest part for me was building all the conditional statements for something to show depending on who's signing in. That was the first for me doing this application. It was fun. But I ran into issues because of JSX not reading my functions, but thankfully someone helped me out and I was able to get that working. And Francis was going to talk about the backend.
Backend, we do have a school API using Flask, which is like for Python. We use JWT for the public session. We build system database scheme using MySQL, and then we is the SQL alchemy for Flask. Also for the Raspberry Pi, we built this script on Python under the Raspberry Pi GPO library to develop sensor. A lot of work was once we put a bar is stage was
You guys are echoing again.
it was very complicated.
I just want to say before we finish, for this app, it's not only geared towards big companies or big warehouses, but what I was thinking when I was also for single sellers that sell in eBay or in Amazon or even Etsy. I know a lot of people do buy a lot of inventory for their own personal businesses, and this could also help them keep track as a management system of what packages they receive and where they're going to sell and things like that. So the future is limitless, and it's something that we'll be improving moving forward. Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our final project. It was definitely a challenging time for us to work on the project. We had a pandemic and also working online, which was a first for me and for 4Geeks also, which did an amazing job. I know Francisco also had his share of misfortunes while trying to get this together. All in all, we are pretty happy with what we did, and our hope is to keep building this and actually make it into an amazing application. We believe in it. And we want to take a moment to give thanks to James, Cameron, Alejandro, Marcelo. Thank you for the kind words. Bridget, Joe, and Paolo with our random questions, especially during the night sometimes, late at night. Every one of them, I know for me, especially helped me in my journey for Geeks, and I know I learned a lot, and I'm gonna keep bothering them moving forward still, and I still need to keep going, which I'm sure will be asking them a lot more questions.
I want to say thanks to Victor, Marco, you guys always support me. Marcelo, Alejandro, Paolo, because I don't have anyone to describe you. You guys help. James, Joao, Cameron, Eugene, Sean, Archer, and all your knowledge. My partner also for the this project, I think it was the most important thing. Well, it's important my wife, my son, my family. Thank you so much, all of you guys. If you have any questions or
Yeah, let us know if you have any questions.
Can we start asking question now?
Oh yeah, you're more than welcome to.
All right, awesome. Hello guys, I am Olsen. I am a previous member of 4Gigs. So yeah, go 4Gigs. First question I have for you guys. What was the toughest part? I'm pretty sure you're gonna get that question sooner or later, so I'll start. The most difficult part that you found whilst working on this project?
Well, for me, it was the conditional statements. So whenever a user sign in, depending on what view to show, depending on the role level for the front end, that was the most challenging part for me. But it was the first time that I had to do any of this. For the back end, communicating to the front end and how, depending on that role number that's fitting into the front end, how to display it correctly. It took me a bit, but I managed to do it, thankfully.
I think for me, the most difficult part, the most difficult part was understanding the real company, how this it works, and how you can fresh the company, render that company with the user effect rules, and it is something very very powerful, but it is complicated too.
Thank you. I have some more questions, but I'll wait for everybody else.
And if anyone has any more questions, you're more than welcome to ask in the chat. If you guys don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up for the evening as well. I want to thank everyone again for joining. Actually, gonna go ahead and steal your screen here for a second. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone again for joining. Thanks our special guest speakers for this evening. I also want to thank the 4Gigs family, obviously, for always being such great support when it comes to these webinars. Again, our guest speakers, Alessandra, Emmanuel, and Miot, thank you, Emmanuel and Trent, thank you so much. Yeah, if anyone has any more questions, you're more than welcome to ask, but if anything at all. Also, yeah, if you guys haven't drawn your LinkedIn, if you want to send your LinkedIn, onto the chat so that you guys can also connect with our panel or guest speakers, that would be great. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and happy Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, and congratulations, guys. Great project.
Yes, thanks so much. This was awesome. I was did something similar for another coding school that I'm not going to name, but the degree of this project was a lot more comprehensive than other projects I'd seen from other schools. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm very, very impressed by what you were able to learn and how you're able to not just show your skills, but put it all together into something that's like an actual product. Like, you guys didn't just do a project or show like a portfolio of different things. Like, this was a robust product that I could see in the market.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, same thing. And the way they use your skills and creating something amazing right away. And I don't know how much of your homework that you did, and it seemed like you did a lot because immediately you can see it even in the chat that people who are actually experiencing some of those pain points are reaching out. So that's the type of amazing opportunities that you can create for yourself, which in turn is creating value as a company. I was like, man, I want these guys. You know what I mean? So that's awesome, man. Keep doing it, and great job to the team at 4 Geeks and preparing guys to do things like this. So amazing, awesome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you again. Have a great weekend and happy Friday.
Happy Friday, guys.
And just FYI, I am gonna reach out to you guys after this, so you should be expecting a call from me.
That's good.
Good.
All right. Bye.
Congrats, guys. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too.
Have a great one.
I'm Marcelo.